Yo, welcome to the first episode of Hard Knock Opinions podcast. My name's Sean. I'm with my friends Didi and Mike here. We're going to talk about a lot of subjects on this podcast, whether it be shows, movies, sports, video games, but today we're going to talk about football.
Let's go.
Hey, what's
Football
up, guys?
season. Let's ride.
What's up, guys? So let's tell everybody like who our teams are. Starting with you, Didi. Who's your favorite team, and how long you been a fan of the team?
All right. So my favorite team is the Los Angeles Rams. Been a fan since 2017. Been a football fan my whole life, and I was a Chargers fan originally from San Diego. And when the Dean Spanos family left San Diego and decided to cut their loyalty to their, loyal fans, I just decided not to follow that ownership and that team anymore. So I decided to pick the nearest team I can go to a game to. And that was the Los Angeles Rams back in 2017. So, yeah.
That's understandable.
I've been called a bandwagon fan, but I chose the fucking Rams before they were before they were good on Sean McVay's first season back in 2017. And the reason I chose the Rams, the closest team that I can go to a game to, but at the same time, I've been playing fantasy football for about 10 years now. And one of their up-and-coming stars, Todd Gurley, was on the team then, and he just made it exciting to watch that team.
That is true. He was the best running back when he was playing. Mike, tell us about your team.
49er fan. Been a 49er fan since about 8 years old. Was able to watch Steve Young play in the last Super Bowl for the 49ers. So one of my first memories of watching football is watching Montana versus Young during that season, and then watching the Niners beat the shit out of the Chargers in the Super Bowl.
Yeah, was that the worst defeat in Super Bowl history?
Actually, I think it was when the Niners beat the Broncos. It was like 55 to something. The
Oof.
Super Bowl before
true.
that. Yeah, Montana threw like 5 touchdowns. Steve Young threw 6 against the Chargers, so that was a pretty good ass whooping too. But yeah, but ever since then, been Niner fan my whole life, and yeah. What about you, Sean?
Just to go off of what you were saying, I'm not sure if this is true. We may be able to look this up later, but I'm pretty sure they put Steve Young in that Bronco game on that Super Bowl win. Like they were so far ahead, they're like,
I think
let's just let Steve get in there.
Yeah, I think they did towards the end of the game.
What? Well, I'm like you, Mike. I've been born and raised a Niner fan. I had no choice in this matter. Ever since I was a little boy, my whole life. Been watching Niners. Not once did I ever question my team. Lucky enough that I've been rooting for a team that has a history of winning Super Bowls, so it's been easy. But as of late, it's been a struggle as of late. But hopefully this year, it'll be pretty good.
Yeah, I always prided the Niners on being the only team that was undefeated in the Super Bowl, and then when that Kaepernick Super Bowl happened.
Yeah.
I mean, they were playing against the GOAT, Ray Lewis.
Ray Lewis is a GOAT.
He's definitely my favorite player of all time.
Ray Lewis?
Yeah.
Oh man,
I fucking love Ray Lewis, dude.
Yo, was it Madden? Madden 05? Was he on the cover of that one? That was like one of the best Maddens. The Ray Lewis cover.
And just seeing Ray Lewis highlights where he just hits people, hits them fucking hard, excites me, man. I love defense.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm big fan of defense players. So we're all in the same fantasy league. I mean, let's get into fantasy. I mean, this is what it's about, really. This is what makes fantasy football is what makes football even more enjoyable. I love it. We're in a league together. Didi, you said that you've been playing for 10 years. I don't even know how long I've been playing. I've been playing a long too.
It's definitely been a long time, and it's one of those things where I got into it myself without anyone's like guidance or suggestion. And when I discovered it myself, it was definitely hard to learn the fantasy football game, because my first draft, I was drafting back-to-back QBs in the first 2 rounds, thinking, "Oh man, I know this name. I'm pretty hyped on this guy. I want him on my team," and so I drafted him. And I remember, I think I was drafting Andrew Luck in the first round.
Oh,
yeah. But fantasy's come a long way. There's multiple platforms that offer the game. Our league, we play on the Yahoo Fantasy platform. I've been running our league for coming up to 3 or 4 years now, with both Mike and Sean and our friend Joe. We have some good times. Last season, Mike was the winner of our fantasy football league. Our fantasy football league is a $100 buy-in. It's a standard half-point PPR league, standard settings. And yeah, man, when we start drafting, we go into it with the mindset where we have players that we want to go for, like are my guys. And then just like every year, these motherfuckers are like brittle paper. They just start going down like flies. Everyone gets injured. Your first 3 rounds, they're out of the park. And, you just have to start relying on the waiver wire, man. It's tough out here.
That's true. 14-man league is no joke. It is a difficult fantasy league when it's 14-man. And Mike definitely pulled off some crazy trades and some ridiculous waiver wire pickups.
Let's go,
Mike. Please, you gotta tell everybody about what is it, since you're the champ from last year. Tell us what are your strategies throughout the season that maybe someone new to fantasy wouldn't know.
Well, it all starts with the draft. The draft is your bare bones. That's the foundation. But really, like, I thought I knocked the draft out of the park, and then, like Didi said, injuries happen. People are brittle. I had David Montgomery and Raheem Mostert as my starting 2 running backs. Both were hurt and missed most of the year after, like, week 2. Like, Mostert was gone the whole year after week 1, and Montgomery was in and out of the lineup for almost all year last year. So some of the things that got me through were actually making trades when the trades were to my advantage and or even. One of the tactics that I like to do is I like to pick up people later on in the draft that might not, that fall because of a suspension or injury, but have high upside to come back. So, like, I remember I drafted Michael Thomas last year, and there was a chance he would come back mid-season, and I wound up flipping him for, like, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And then Clyde Edwards-Helaire was hurt at the time, so I had to struggle getting through the stretch of games. And then finally, when Edwards-Helaire was healthy, I flipped him and Aaron Rodgers and got Josh Allen, and rest was history, boys. Who was the champs?
So, when it comes to fantasy, you guys are 49er fans. I'm a Rams fan. We follow our training camp reports, videos, our teams very closely in the offseason. So we have an understanding and an idea of what players are going to become breakout players this year. Last year, Mike, you were hyping a rookie by the name of Trey Sermon up so much it hyped me up.
This is false allegations.
You said draft Trey Sermon. You won't regret it. We drafted Trey Sermon, Mike. And what happened next? He didn't even play, man.
All I can say is that he drafted Trey Sermon. I did not. I plead the fifth on this. Well, actually, what I told you, Didi, was I said draft the 49ers running back because whoever's starting will do work. It just so happened that Trey Sermon didn't start a game, dog.
Man,
Yeah.
we
And
out
now
here playing checkers. You playing chess. You fucking manipulating
So,
your own friends, man.
That was
You
not a
backstabber.
manipulation.
Wait,
That
Yes,
was
it
not.
was. Yes, it was.
hold on. We got to tell Didi that we actually watched his college games, and we were like, "Yo, we got this guy. Yo, he looks
Yeah.
pretty good. He looks pretty good."
I do remember that.
Man, guy was a straight bum. You guys just released him a few days ago.
We did.
He never even got the opportunity to actually become a starter. That's how bad this guy was.
Well, you know what it is? He's not a bad running back, but he doesn't fit the system. Looking back on it, like he's a bigger back. He's not like most of the people like Raheem Mostert and even Matt Breida and some of the other people that had success in Kyle Shanahan's like West Coast offense run game, zone run scheme is fast, really fast guys that could get to the edge. And Trey Sermon is a big guy that's too slow to get there.
So, talking about 2022 and some of the stories coming into this year, what are some of the big stories coming in for your specific team? Like for the 49ers, this is Trey Lance's first year to start on his own. Last year, Jimmy Garoppolo was a starting quarterback. And so, what do you think as Trey Lance as a quarterback representing your team? And was Trey Lance the quarterback you guys wanted to draft in the third overall from last year's draft? Or was there another quarterback that you guys were interested in?
Looking at the top 4 QBs from last year, you had Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, and Trey Lance. I don't know who's going to be good. I mean, we look at the tapes, I was happy to see that we got Trey Lance. I mean, I didn't know that he barely played. You know, he didn't play that many games in college. That was the thing I didn't know. And that could be why he hasn't been starting as soon as these other guys. But I think Trey Lance, he just represents situations that he'll excel in situations that happen in football all the time, where a play breaks down, he's got the wheels to improvise and make something happen, and he could throw the ball far.
So he's a dual threat then. But aren't you worried that you guys just drafted another Colin Kaepernick?
I mean, this is I don't want to say that. I mean, I really liked Colin Kaepernick. He was running all over the place. He kind of did whatever he wanted when it came to running, but then people started to figure him out later. I hope that doesn't happen.
Yeah, but when it comes to running quarterbacks, there's a history of mobile quarterbacks not lasting, long in this league.
That's true. That's true. I just sorry, Mike. I'll just say this and I'll let you go. The difference is I think we have a great head coach, and I think having him guiding a young quarterback, hopefully it'll turn out well. Because Harbaugh was just yelling at people all the time and just saying, "Who got it better than us? Nobody." Like I just go, okay, like it's not really coaching, I guess. Just hyping your guys up, but no, this is no knock on Harbaugh, but just in the difference between the mind between Harbaugh and Kyle, Kyle, he's just a different animal in that sense. Yeah, like I'm happy for Trey. I'm happy that Trey's here. I'm gonna support him. I've been a Jimmy supporter too, so I'm just glad to, in case something happens to Trey, at least we got Jimmy. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah, Jimmy's too pretty to play in this league. He's too busy, having his own porn stars in the off season.
Yeah.
He needs to worry about actually carrying a team to the Super Bowl,
What
and not choking in the championship game like last year.
Oh, jeez.
Jesus. Here we go. Well, the only thing I can say about Jimmy is before that championship game, he was undefeated against the Rams, but that's besides the point. He didn't get done in the biggest of games.
So last year and the year before, every single time the 49ers would play the Rams, for some reason, we just didn't bring our A game. We would always turn it over. We usually had Jared Goff when we played you guys, but now we had Matthew Stafford. This time around, I thought, this is the year. This is the year I can talk shit to the 49er fans as soon as we beat them. But it just never came in the regular season. But long and behold, when it came to the championship game, ooh, we got our glory back.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll give you that. Jimmy hurt shoulder and thumb. Fucking.
You're gonna say excuses all you want.
But it was Jaquaski Tart, man. That fucking dropped interception.
I don't know what's worse, that or the muff punt from Kyle Williams against the Giants.
I think it was the Kyle Williams one because he did too. And he had a fumble on a reverse, if I remember correctly.
That might have been the worst, feeling I felt with my family watching that game. All my uncles in the living room, we're just hurt by that. We're just hurt by that. Man. But yeah, Didi, I mean, hats off to the Rams winning the Super Bowl. But we're going to get you again. We're coming again. This season, we're going to get you again.
This was Stafford's first year. He was in Detroit for 12 years. And all he needed was just a good, solid foundation support around him. He needed weapons. And obviously, he's had weapons before in Calvin Johnson. But he just needed a whole team around him to actually support him. And once he got that, in his first year with the Rams, he's a Super Bowl champion.
Well, I know we were talking about Kyle and everything earlier, but I think your boy McVay snuck Matthew Stafford by Kyle in Cancun, dog. If the reports were correct, the Niners were looking at getting Stafford too, till the Rams came and swept him under.
No, wasn't he going to a different team? There was another team eyeing him. I think it was it the Titans?
It might have been.
I'm not sure. But yeah, there was definitely a few teams calling about Stafford in the offseason.
But to go off of your other question about the differences between Kaepernick, or if you were worried that Trey Lance is similar to Kaepernick, I would say that they're both dual threat quarterbacks, but their styles are different. Colin was more of a long striding dual threat quarterback. He wasn't really fast, or he wasn't really quick, but he was fast. Meaning that he couldn't get to top speed right away because he had long strides, but as soon as he got into stride, nobody could catch him.
Dude, I've never really cared for dual threat quarterbacks. I've always been a pocket passer quarterback, enthusiast. Given Tom Brady, a Drew Brees, a Phillip Rivers, these guys that just stay in the pocket like Matthew Stafford. These are gunslingers, and that's what makes fucking football fun. It's just watching these guys just launch the fucking ball and throw bombs down the field for touchdowns. That's my preference in quarterback.
I hear you with that. The only other thing I could say, though, is that if you can have a quarterback that can do both, that's beneficial. And I'm of the mindset that Trey can do both. He's not just a dual threat. He's a pocket quarterback first.
Sure, but can he be accurate?
I would say his accuracy... deep accuracy, yes, great, fantastic. What he needs to work on, and it's not necessarily touch, because Colin Kaepernick had no touch on his throws. Everything was a bullet, dart. There was no loft in his passes. With Trey Lance, there's loft and there's touch on his deep balls. The only problem I see with him is that he has too much mustard on the over the middle stuff, and when you're throwing the ball that fast, they could get tipped and a lot of interceptions thrown over the middle, which was one of the things that Jimmy excelled at. Jimmy literally couldn't throw the ball outside the numbers, but anything over the middle, Jimmy was accurate as all hell.
Yeah, and on top of that, I mean, you're talking about Didi, you love the pocket passer like Stafford. You know, how do you do last night? Man. How do you do last night?
I mean, Stafford just didn't have the O-line around to support him.
Oh.
And sure, you can say a mobile quarterback could take advantage of that and, get around and scramble and probably keep the play alive. But, we used to have Russell Wilson in the NFC West for, over almost 10 years. And the Rams, even though he's a mobile quarterback, would have the most sacks on him every single division game. I honestly don't see that a mobile quarterback could really be useful in those situations where you just don't have an O-line.
Well, speaking of that, let's get into it, fellas. It's Friday, September 9th. It is the day after opening day football. Thursday night football, we had the defending champion Rams, Didi's team, against the Buffalo Bills, who a lot of people are excited about. Now, let's say, Didi, who did you expect to win yesterday's game, and was yesterday's game a shock to you?
All right, so I expected the Rams to come out blazing. I expected them to win. I expected a good game on both fronts. And, don't get me wrong, the Bills are a really good team, but they were out their main cornerback, so I felt like McVay would probably take advantage of some of the opportunities that Kupp and Allen Robinson would take or would have. And it definitely surprised me because losing some of the core starters that started in the Super Bowl last year really affected this team. Our left tackle, Andrew Whitworth, retired, and his replacement, Joseph Noteboom, just was overmatched versus a dominating Von Miller, when he's healthy. Stafford just didn't look himself. Honestly, he's had issues with his elbow. I didn't see, issues with him throwing yesterday. I just saw more of he was just pressured too much the whole night. He was sacked 7 times by the Buffalo Bills, front end. So honestly, what surprised me the most the whole game was Jalen Ramsey's performance. He
got torched.
He just got burnt on every play.
Yeah, what do you think that was?
It was
just week one stuff, like, they're not ready.
Yes, I agree. He just wasn't prepared, but honestly, I don't think he was just playing his own game.
I read a statistic, including the playoffs, that the last 6 games he's given up a big touchdown. So
yeah, he hasn't been playing.
That's a bad trend. Well.
I think it was just week one. I think they'll bounce back. I mean, I think the Bills, they just have so much firepower. Josh Allen this guy looked like he did whatever he wanted to do out there. That's what I loved about the game. Just like, he was running a lot, and I was scared because I drafted him this year, and I'm just worried that he's gonna get hurt. I'm just so scared, but he handled it really well. But it definitely looked like he was styling on them. I was like, okay, let's calm it down.
There's two parts of of each party. You have one where the Rams just a bad team, and were they just playing bad, or were the Bills playing really good? And I'm on more of the Bills were just playing amazing. They were the better team yesterday.
I would usually be with you on that, but the one thing that concerned me was the Bills played really, really sloppy football that first half. Like, they could have easily been up 28-7 going into halftime if it wasn't for a lot of the mistakes, the 2 interceptions, that fumble by James Cook.
And the game should have been over by halftime.
Yeah, so I think what was more shocking to me was just the Rams' inability to move the ball other than throwing it to Kupp.
Yeah, dude, Sean McVay's play calling yesterday was frustrating to watch. It almost seemed like he was playing against Bill Belichick in the Super Bowl of 2018, where he just didn't know what to do and what to call.
By the way, don't get me wrong. I love that all they had was Kupp as offense because I had Cooper Kupp in one of my leagues this year. And let's just say we winning.
Yo, can we talk about Cooper Kupp just for like a little bit? Because that guy, they're losing the game. Yeah, so what? This guy, he's open a lot. It's ridiculous. And then there's that one play towards the end of the game where he had to break like 3 tackles and he just fell down. Like, this guy's crazy. Do you think that, I don't think he's going to repeat. Everyone thinks that. Everyone thinks he's not going to repeat
his performance of last year.
But why not? Look at him. He's killing it.
Statistically, he had the best wide receiver year of any player ever last year.
Yeah, that guy's one hell of a receiver.
Yeah, we just pulled up the statistics right here. 1,900 yards, 1,947 yards, 16 touchdowns, 191 targets, 145 receptions. Triple Crown winner last year.
Yeah. In your guys' opinion, is this the clear wide receiver 1 in this league right now? Has anyone shown otherwise that they can be better than Cooper Kupp on what he showed last year?
He just seems open all the time. That's what I like about him. Just hopefully Stafford can find him. There's one throw where he just threw it up there like, I hope it finds you. He already had to throw over the top of a lineman. I think that was one of the interceptions. It just kind of
went. It almost seemed like
it was a no-look pass.
Yeah. McVay wasn't helping Stafford with the play calling, and Stafford just got to the point where it's just like, fuck it, Cooper Kupp's down there somewhere. Let me just launch it, hope for the best.
Yeah, I think he's great. I think he's gonna be a top 3 receiver. He could be 1 again. Well, people say like, oh, there's no way he's gonna repeat it, but he could still be the 1. I think that I wouldn't bet against him. He's great.
Yeah, I had my doubts, but after last night's performance, he's easily, wide receiver 1, and unless something happens where Stafford gets hurt or something else, I don't see any other wide receivers matching him in production as far as just receiving. The only other receiver that I would say is close as far as like overall production, maybe Debo, just because he gives you a little bit of a run element too.
Well, who were you in fantasy? Who did you guys specifically target this year? Like number 1, who's your number 1? I want this guy. I'm going to get him.
Given that most of my leagues that I drafted this year, I was drafting in the back end of the order. I just had to rely on getting just 2 solid running backs, and that's usually my go-to strat every single year. And so drafting in the back end of the order, you're going to see quarterbacks like Kamara, Aaron Jones, Saquon Barkley, Nick Chubb, Javonte Williams there. And out of all of those running backs, I'm definitely going with Kamara this year. That's the person I'm targeting number 1 in the first round. In the second round, coming back around, I'm targeting Javonte Williams. This is his sophomore year with the Denver Broncos. His performance last year, he just seems like a very unique running back. He breaks tackles. He's big. He's strong. He has speed. He doesn't go down easily. It almost reminds me like a Derrick Henry in a short package. And so that's one of the other players I was targeting this year. Another target is Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson, our wide receiver 2, coming from the Chicago Bears. He's proven before that he could be or he can be a wide receiver one, but he just needs the opportunities, and it wasn't there yesterday.
Yeah, Allen
Yeah,
Robinson was probably the biggest letdown, other than Cam Akers. I was for sure thinking Cam Akers was going to be a RB1 coming into the season, and he didn't touch the ball till like the beginning of the second quarter. I think he had 0 fantasy points. So what do you think about the Rams backfield right now, Didi?
It is atrocious. It's awful. I don't think I've ever seen a game where everyone thought, there's a specific player that's going to be the starter, and he just doesn't get the opportunities at all.
I'm sure they'll figure. It's week 1. I'm sure they'll figure it out. There's gonna be teams that they can't protect against the run. It's gonna happen. They're gonna be big games for them. The question is, who is it gonna be? That's the issue.
Yeah, that's why I've never really cared for committee backs. But sometimes in a 14-man league, you just have to take the risk.
Well, in a 14-man, that's all we got. Mike, who did you absolutely want to get? I swear, if you say Kelsey, I'm gonna. Oh my god, who did you want to get?
Well,
Had to get.
everybody knows I'm big on tight ends. I've been playing fantasy football for about six or 7 years now, and I've won 4 out of those 7 years. I was the champion in the Super Bowl. I won 3 times in my other league, and last year I won with you guys. My thing is, like, because I've been burned on my first 2 seasons playing, is you have to have a good tight end. Like, there's so much value in that position, especially if you have one of the top 3, that it automatically crushes other teams, especially in the playoffs. Running backs get hurt a lot throughout the season. Wide receivers, you can find like multiple wide receivers throughout the year that could fill in and get you points. The one thing that's hard to find, though, is a good tight end. Like, if you have Kelsey or Kittle or Waller, and then, that's basically like having an RB1, but in a different slot. And then if something happens to him, you're picking up some guy off the waiver wire and hoping that he can maybe get you 10 points that week.
Yeah, I mean,
so I was also picking at the back spot. I think I had pick 10 in this league, and my other 2 leagues were auction drafts. So I with the auction's a whole nother animal. We'll get to that later. But as far as Snake goes, who I was looking at for the 10 spot and later on was Joe Mixon. I thought this guy would be an absolute monster coming off the Super Bowl year. He's definitely the workhorse. They upgraded that Bengals O-line after what happened in the Super Bowl, where Burrow was basically running for his life the whole time. So I'm expecting Joe Mixon to have a hell of a year. Unfortunately, in our league, he got picked right before me. So my next 2 that I was thinking about was going to be either Kittle or, like Didi said, Alvin Kamara, and I wound up going Alvin Kamara.
Kittle in the first round? You mean Kelsey?
All right, Kelsey. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Kelsey without Tyreek Hill, I feel like he's gonna just excel. Kelsey's been the number 1 fantasy tight end ever since after his rookie season. So he's been top 1 or 2 every year.
You're telling me that you've won the last few years going with the tight end strategy, yet in the year the number 1 tight end is going to be the number 1 receiver guaranteed with Patrick Mahomes. You decided not to go Kelsey?
Well, that's the thing. I had the 10th spot. Kelsey's a little bit older, so what I was planning on doing was going Alvin Kamara and then wrapping around and getting Kelsey, and it just so happened somebody picked him up before I could get there. And one of the strats was Didi was picking behind me, and I know Didi's not going to pick Kelsey, so that's 2 out of the 4 spots. So I had basically it was like a 50-50 chance that I could get Kelsey there if I just waited. So that's what I was hoping for, and unfortunately I didn't get him.
yeah, my guy, you guys know it. I'm only in 3 leagues this year. I made it a point to get Josh Allen. I did not care about drafting him so high. I just thought that this guy is going to throw so many touchdowns, and he's going to run them in too, which we saw. Sorry, Didi. That was my guy. I tried to keep that. I don't know if I was telling you guys that. I think I was just. That's the way I was drafting.
Doesn't he have like 6 touchdowns rushing for the last 3 years in a row, minimum? Like Josh Allen's impressive, man.
Yeah, he's had 6 last year, and then 8, 9, and 8.
Jesus.
Yeah,
he's averaging also another 500 yards on the ground too every year.
I've never gone with the quarterback early. I've always liked getting a quarterback in the later rounds, because even in the later rounds, you could find a top 5 quarterback. But
That's true.
I do see where you're coming from, where you're trying to go for that upside. And Josh Allen has a high floor, but an insanely high ceiling. He could be the highest ceiling. He could win you a game. He could win you weeks.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I wanted him. Because we kind of follow the same strategy in terms of like, oh, I want to get this running back. We always want that running back, and Mike wants that tight end. But for Josh, I just feel like Josh Allen just represents, like you said, he's a weak winner. Like he's gonna win games. He's gonna win you games where you're down, and where I'll be weak in one area, but this guy, for some reason, this guy is just that 4th touchdown last night. I didn't need that. I was happy to have the third rushing touchdown. I go, okay, there goes those 2 interceptions he threw. We're okay now. And then he did that final one. I'm going, oh man, the pick is looking great now. It's looking great. So,
little strategy I had was I was actually considering picking Josh Allen once they took Kelsey at the second round of our draft, and I decided not to. But if he was there in the third, if Sean didn't get him, I was definitely going to draft Josh Allen in the 3rd round.
One of the strategies I was going for this year in fantasy is targeting these veteran wide receivers in the later rounds. Some of the wide receivers that might have questions. One of them, for example, is Chris Godwin, which is wide receiver 1 in Tampa Bay. Tom Brady throwing on the ball. But the question with Chris Godwin this year was he's coming into the season injured, and he was definitely available in the later rounds. He has an insanely value based on his ADP this year. And so that's one of the targets I was targeting this year. Same goes for other veterans like Michael Thomas of the New Orleans Saints. Now, Michael Thomas was the number 1 wide receiver back in 2019 when Drew Brees was still there. Set the record for the most receptions by a receiver ever. But, he hasn't played since 2020. It's going to be almost 2 years where we haven't seen prime Michael Thomas. And so this is his first year coming back after being injured all of last year. And we'll see if, he can go back to his previous status as being a top dog in this league.
Yeah, I think... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Sean.
I really liked that you targeted Godwin. I'm a big fan of Godwin, just from his name alone. He has God and win in the same name. I just go, how do you not like this player? And I think that's probably the best steal in the later rounds. I 100% agree with getting Godwin. I didn't get him in any of my leagues. I wish I could have got him, but yeah, I definitely agree. I like your strategy this year, getting these receivers that have already shown their ability. They have a record of great stats. They've just been injured, and that doesn't mean that they can't still play the game. So I think your strategy is going to pay off. To be honest,
one of the other wide receivers that you can get in the later rounds is DeAndre Hopkins. Used to be a top 5 wide receiver in the league for almost 6 years straight. And the only reason why he wasn't higher this year is because he was suspended for six games because of taking PEDs. But, if you can survive for 6 weeks and, plug him in after week 6, you're getting yourself a wide receiver 1 at a discount.
Yeah, unfortunately in our league, I knew that he was going to be gone by a certain round, so I did not get DeAndre at a discount. He was my first wide receiver taken in our league. But I do agree with Didi. I think DeAndre Hopkins is going to have a hell of a year. You just got to get through the first 6 games. Where Didi's banking on these the veteran wide receivers that have a proven track record that might be coming off injury or coming off of suspension. My draft strategy at wide receiver was a little bit different this year. I was going for the rookies and the young guys, the sophomores. So one of the people that I'm really high on is, of course, and this is a homer pick, so bear with me here, but Brandon Ayuk. Everything I'm hearing at a camp about Brandon Ayuk is all good. His connection with Trey Lance is great, and I'm just really excited to see what he does this season.
So, Brandon Ayuk, is he a slot receiver primarily?
Brandon Ayuk can be in the slot, but I think he's going to be mainly the Y. Like, he'll be the go receiver, probably the post receiver. He'll be the end around guy, I think. And he does a lot of the stuff Debo can do, so I think you'll see him running the ball a lot this year. Whereas Debo's really thick in like the leg area, Brandon Ayuk's a monster in his upper body. Like, this dude's wingspan is ridiculous. Like, and his vertical is crazy. Like, there's a play of him hurdling people into the end zone from his rookie season that is just jaw dropping the athleticism he has.
I do remember that. I like how, football is a sport of sports. It is a manly sport. It is, full force contact. But yet, it's funny how we perceive some of these players just by their physical attributes. We judge and like some players just because they have either bigger forearms or bigger quads. I find it funny.
Well, I mean, Aaron Donald's the most muscular fat guy. Like, he's not even fat. Like, I thought Aaron Donald's fat. This fool has a full-on 6-pack, like an 8-pack.
Dude, I've met Aaron Donald.
Freaky thing I've ever seen.
I've met him in person, and I'm a bigger guy. Dude, Aaron Donald seemed really small in person to me. He's short. He's like 5'11", maybe 6 foot, but he just looked tiny to me.
You gotta see him with pads on.
Oh,
yeah.
Can I ask you guys this? Like, I'll start with Didi. Like, what is your favorite thing about football?
My favorite thing about football, I like the excitement when your team scores a touchdown. Just you know what it is? I like an underdog story. That's what I like about football. Growing up, the Chargers was always an underdog story until in the mid 2000s when the Chargers became great behind Phillip Rivers, LT, and a great defense. But having an underdog come out and win it is just really exciting.
That's always fun. Mike.
The main thing that drew me to football was just the team aspect, the camaraderie between players. Growing up in the Bay Area, having a team represent your town, being able to cheer for that team, seeing that team reach success when not a lot of people are giving that team any credit. Just the whole and football's exciting. It's full contact. You get to see people running at each other 100 miles per hour, and may the best man win. And
see, the way I see it, football compared to other sports is exciting because one, it's like playing chess. You're having one team trying to outthink the other team, by playing certain coverages, putting their players in certain positions to succeed. And so, even though if another person from like around the world that's not familiar with football might think like, why is this sport pausing and stopping, every play, every few seconds? Like, it just doesn't seem exciting because it's not continuous, like, a soccer or a basketball. But yet, for those few seconds that it's going on, it's brutal. It's
So you like the mind games of the sport?
yeah, I mean,
strategy, like the strategy. It feels like because it's so physical and tough that it does feel like, we're gonna go at them as hard as we can, and let the play develop, and then all of a sudden, guys open, boom, and he's taking off down the field. That's that build up to that moment.
One of the things I enjoyed about football, growing up and watching it, is some of these quarterbacks that are gifted. They're like generals on the field, in war. Think of a Peyton Manning or a Tom Brady. These players have been around for so long, and they prepare for their opponents ahead of time so much that they know exactly what's going to happen. And so I like that. You can see the quarterback at the line of scrimmage calling out plays, calling out coverages, audibling to like the right play, and it's just exciting to see that, like, hey, this person knows exactly what he's doing. He's putting his players in position to get the ball, and it's nice to me. That's what I like about the game.
Yeah, just like Didi said earlier with the underdog story, even fourth quarter comebacks, whether or not it's a underdog in the game or if it's the greatest of all time coming back from 20-point deficit in the fourth quarter, and he's going to do it, he knows he's going to do it, but most importantly the other team knows Tom Brady's going to take this ball down the field, score a touchdown, and there's nothing they can do to stop him. That's just
he is insane. It is crazy how good he is.
For years I disliked Tom Brady because he just won so much. But as I grow older, I come to respect him more as a competitor.
Yeah.
And so, he used to beat the Chargers all the time when I was a Chargers fan growing up. And when he definitely beat the Chargers in the championship game, Phillip Rivers actually was injured that game. I think he tore his ACL, but he still remained in the game. But I've always had something against Tom Brady until recently, and I respect Tom Brady. I actually like him.
I grew up liking Tom because he beat the Rams in his first Super Bowl, and I hated the Rams back then. When I stopped disliking Tom is when he got close to like Montana's 4 Super Bowls, and the comparisons between him and Montana kind of go. And granted, Tom is a Montana fan, so Brady grew up watching Montana, and it's probably one of the reasons why Tom Brady is as cool under fire. He's got a little bit more fire than Joe had, but like he is almost like a dead replica, like how Kobe Bryant kind of drew a lot of his game from Michael Jordan. You can see that with Tom Brady and Joe Montana too.
Like he surpassed his idol.
Yeah,
growing up. I want to talk about what Didi said about Phillip Rivers being hurt in the game, and that's one of my favorite things about football is like these are like the most tough people that I get to watch on Sunday, Monday, Thursday. Like they're so mentally tough that they can just grind out through pain and still try to help their team win. I think like I didn't know that like a lot of these guys are just hurt all the time, and you'll never know. And then you'll find out later and you go, oh shoot, that guy was playing on a torn ACL. What do you mean? That's one of my favorite things about football is just like we're watching some of the most not only physically tough, mentally tough people, and it's just that's fun for me.
Yeah. Other than like seeing a beautiful like 50-yard pass, like when you see somebody get decleated in the open field, like ooh, like just watching them, it hurts too. And then, yeah,
I could just
probably one of
imagine
my best plays.
getting hit by a linebacker at full speed is probably getting hit like almost equivalent to like getting in a car accident.
Oh yeah, concussion protocols straight up.
Oh fuck!
Yeah, I mean that was in a Jackass movie, where I
How
can't
was
remember.
it? I think his name was Barry Allen, linebacker for the Vikings.
Yeah,
Jared Allen, I think his name
Jared
was.
Allen. We could be wrong. Well, we know his last name's Allen, and we remember that movie. That fool got rocked. Like Knoxville. He looked like he died. Like,
This is
yeah.
a violent sport, man.
Yeah,
I mean, and
it's so fun. It's so
growing
fun.
up in the USA, we've watched this whole sport all our lives. We have kids learning the sport at a young age, 5, 6, 7 years old, and it's just in our blood. We just want to hit people.
Legally.
Yeah, I feel like fantasy football helps you enjoy the game even more. Like you get to just you're paying attention more to all the teams because you're invested in your team that you made. And so you get to see how teams run their offense and how good of a defense another team has. And like I was watching the game and I'm basically going, yeah, like I'm screaming the whole time. And if someone was to watch me like react to the game, like they would think I was probably like a gambler. Like, damn, this guy is like getting excited as shit. Like, okay, and I'm like, but I'm wearing like a Niners shirt. Like, why is he cheering for Josh Allen? This guy's got a Niners shirt on. Like, Mike, you talked about auction drafts. I personally have never done an auction draft. How much more challenging do you think it is doing an auction draft versus your typical snake draft?
I say it's way more unpredictable because in a snake draft you can at least target like certain people that you think will be there. Like you can have like, okay, well if this guy's gone, I can pick this guy. This guy's gone, I can pick this guy. You kind of get a feel, especially if you do a lot of mock drafts, you kind of get a feel of where players are going and in what round. So in that sense, the snake draft's way more predictable. Obviously, there's going to be certain things where people reach really high. Like I took DeAndre Hopkins in the 5th round. Probably nobody else would take him that high. Like certain things like that might happen, but for the most part, you could kind of figure out where you're picking and who you're picking. Auction draft, it's a total crapshoot because like they won't even put up the best players most of the times, especially in a good auction draft. Like they'll put up somebody like handcuff and then make that person have to spend like bid with other people just to get his handcuff for like $7 or something, just so that they can, especially like a good handcuff like a Alex Madison or a Kareem Hunt. You throw those handcuffs out there and now all of a sudden somebody has to pay like double what they would have paid for that handcuff if they didn't throw them up first. So yeah, I would say definitely it's more of the unpredictability of an auction draft. Like you go in it and you have no idea what you're gonna get unless you're specifically doing like a certain strategy. And there's a couple different strategies that you can do.
See, the thing with auction drafts, it's a draft based on like a $200 spending spree.
Yeah.
Everyone gets $200. You get to buy certain players at certain prices, and every auction draft can be different. That's the beauty of it. It's unpredictable. The same player in a different auction draft can go for $10 cheaper or maybe $20 more in this draft, and you just never know that. And it's all about strategy, like when these players go up to bid for. And the thing about auction drafts is it's a format where you could actually go for your specific players and you could win them if you decide that you think they're worth it, which is pretty cool. Because like, let's say you want the 3 best players from last season, you can buy them. Sure, go for it. But the thing is, those players are going to come at a high price. So you can definitely get the best players from last season, but at the sacrifice of having the rest of your team be mediocre because you're not going to have enough money to bid on other players to fill your starting roster.
Yeah, it's just like the Rams.
I definitely enjoyed watching you guys do it. It made me want to try it next season. Because yeah, like I do like that aspect what you said, which is, you could target the players you want versus like, we're doing a snake and I go, oh man, I'm not gonna be able to get him because I'm gonna pick this guy here. This guy's definitely going later, and I won't be able to get him when it's my turn. So I do see it makes me intrigued doing auction draft.
Auction draft just provides more opportunities to build weird rosters. Either you're going to get stars and scrubs, or you're just going to get a pretty decent team overall with almost no stars. It's just how do you want to build your team, and it's pretty nice. You obviously you don't go into it with a specific mindset. Sometimes the best strategy for an auction draft, even though if it's not the player that you want to buy, you buy players based on their value. Like on average, they'll have an ADP, which is average drafting position.
Average drafting price for auction, yeah.
So some of these players, on average, they'll show you the average price for this player. You could probably get them cheaper, and if you can get them cheaper, even though that's not someone that you're targeting, it might benefit you more later on because you're getting a pretty good player at a cheap price.
Yeah, one of the strategies is to go like get one really expensive running back and then just kind of save your money because you could get a lot of player later on, like once everybody starts losing their money, and you start getting a lot of good players later on that you're targeting and a lot of rookies cheap. Unfortunately, in my auction draft that I have with Didi, Cooper Kupp usually goes for about $60. So I didn't want Cooper Kupp, but I just wanted to get him out of there already. So I was like, all right, let's let these other guys spend their money on Cooper Kupp. So I just bid him at $60, thinking somebody was gonna bid on Cooper Kupp. And nobody bid on Cooper Kupp, and I wound up getting Cooper Kupp for $60, and that completely changed my entire auction draft strategy to where I had to like start thinking of a whole new strategy because now I just spent $60 on a wide receiver.
Yeah, but I mean, that's one of the best wide receivers. I think
True.
You're just fine. Like
No,
that guy is so good, man. It's ridiculous how good that guy is.
I mean, he's paying off now, but at the time I was like, fuck.
You know what's funny? Cooper Kupp is the whitest guy in the football. That guy is so fucking white, beating all these, crazy tall black players that are like super they're gifted, they're athletic. And Cooper Kupp's over here. I'm the best wide receiver in football. And I'm like hella white.
I mean, Kupp's got he's got speed though. I mean, he's a track star.
Yeah. You hear that guy talk though? It's like Boomhauer from King of the Hill.
Yeah, we heard him talk. I mean, but yeah, he's definitely a gifted wide receiver. I mean, aside from injury, I don't foresee him slowing down. Like he's too good.
Yeah, I think he's getting stronger, he's getting faster, and he's just getting smarter with his route running.
Yeah, who do you guys think? I mean, the other wide receivers that we're not really talking about, I mean, we talked about Cooper Kupp, but, like, there's Debo, and then there's Justin Jefferson, and Stephon Diggs, and Jamar Chase. Like, those are the ones everyone's like, okay, which one is going to be the one, though, this year? Who do you guys like out of those?
Honestly, I think if the Vikings' new coach, Kevin O'Connell, takes advantage of his knowledge coming from the Rams and focuses on one wide receiver, I think Justin Jefferson could be an amazing wide receiver this year. He has the talent. He has the athletic ability to jump up and get 50-50 balls. They should just really take advantage of these star players and just start, targeting them all game.
I love Debo as a dual threat, more so total yardage. Like, I think he'll have the most total yardage out of the receivers based on receiving yards and rushing, but like combined. But as far as just strictly wide receiver goes, I mean, Stephon Diggs put on a show last night, and the way he burned Ramsey, I mean, that's one of the top corners in the league. Whether Ramsey's getting old or has a Super Bowl hangover, you could do that to Ramsey. You got a great shot at being wide receiver 1 for the season.
Yeah, that's what I like about. I mean, that's why I wanted Allen, because I knew there. I was in one of my leagues. I set the stats for the running backs on the Bills, and I was like this. I was telling them these guys can't run the ball. They're gonna throw it all day. So that's another reason why I wanted Allen, because I knew that it's gonna happen. Like, they're just gonna throw it. They're running.
Let me toss up a question right now. If you were a GM in the NFL and you had your pick of the litter of what quarterback you wanted to start a franchise with, who would that be right now out of all the immersive talents coming out of the league in the last few years?
Starting QBs that
Yeah,
like Tom Brady or
start a franchise. No, take age into consideration. Obviously, you're going to start Tom Brady with a 45-year-old, quarterback with a brand new franchise.
So basically, like, if the league just said, "Hey, let's reset, and we're going to throw everybody in a pot and redraft,"
who would you trust to build your team around?
Hmm.
And
only quarterbacks, or can we go any position?
Oh no. Talk about, how about one offensive player, one defensive player? Who do you think is the most impactful player to start a franchise right now in 2022?
Offense, it has to be Josh Allen.
Yeah.
You think Josh Allen over Patrick Mahomes, who's proven to do it in the Super Bowl?
I just like Allen because he's bigger.
Yeah.
They both have very, very insane arm strength. And Mahomes has done insane scrambles and magical throws. He's the first one that did the no-look pass. That got... Obviously, he was not the first one that's ever done it, but ever done it on a big stage.
I mean, Aaron Rodgers has done it plenty of times in his career, but I feel what you're saying. I will say this. Patrick Mahomes has won a Super Bowl. He's also lost a Super Bowl. And I'm no offense against the refs here, but I mean, Kansas City's O-line was holding Nick Bosa all day that Super Bowl, so I don't know. And to me, Josh Allen, just if we're just going off of who do you want to start your franchise, who has all the tools, it's close. It's Josh Allen 1A, Patrick Mahomes 1B for me. And
I'm in the same boat.
What about you, Didi?
It's close, but honestly, I like Justin Herbert.
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that. He is a
raw talent.
Woo!
See, the reason why I don't think of Justin Herbert in the same light is because Justin Herbert, to me, is smaller version of Josh Allen.
How is he small? He's like 6'4".
Josh Allen's 6'5", 210.
I get it. But they both have raw talent. I think where...
He's skinny Josh Allen, dog.
I mean, these are facts. We're going to have a fact segment very soon in the future, and that's a fact right there. We could throw that one. First fact.
But yeah, Justin Herbert would be my pick to start a franchise on the offensive side. Now about defense.
It's a great pick. Because Mike decided to bring up refs, can we just say really quick, do you like refs or do you not like refs? Go. Didi.
I think refs are an essential part of this game. I honestly think.
No, do you like them or do you not like them? Not are they essential? Yes, no, on refs.
Yeah, they're fine.
Okay, Mike.
Absolutely hate refs. Here's the reason. We're so far advanced with like television and everything. You could have people looking at the screens in New York referee the game without it slowing down. Like the ref is like all you really need is the refs on the field to make sure that the players don't get out of hand. But when it starts getting muddled is when they put these rules in to where the ref has to make a judgment call on whether or not a hit is legal or illegal. That shouldn't be in that ref's position to do that because that's how games can get fixed. So that's my problem with refereeing.
See, here's the thing though, with
Especially
all the
when they're
rules
automatic first down rules. Like any rule that's automatic first down, like you could call a bullshit fucking holding that has nothing to do with the play, and all of a sudden it's an automatic first down. That's what I hate about the game. But go ahead, Didi. Sorry.
I was gonna say, I don't think if you were to take refs out of the game that we can set up cameras to catch the offsides, false starts quick enough in order for us to stop the play at that at that time.
Well,
So we need refs on the field to enforce the insane amount of rules that this game comes with.
yeah, I guess what I'm more upset on is the judgment rules, where it's like,
I'm with you on that, and I think for something like a judgment rule, I think it should go upstairs and have a third party like ref, look into it with instant replay and decide whether it's going to be a catch or not.
and the other problem that I have with the way that the game is officiated is there are certain rules that are put in, but like if you really want to get technical, a referee can literally throw the flag every single play because somebody is doing something that they're not supposed to. But it's when the referees don't call the same plays fairly. And what I mean by this is like if there's small contact with like a Aaron Rodgers receiver and the referee throws the flag for pass interference, then when I see somebody manhandle another receiver on the opposing team and there's no flag being thrown for pass interference, that's when it gets really frustrating.
Now I understand, and there's favoritism in this league. Quarterbacks like a Tom Brady, they get more of a leniency.
Yeah, because their legacy's built. They already got established.
I mean, they're the face of the sport, so they want to protect their product.
So
Yeah. That's why I'm going to say for me, hate them. Don't trust any of these guys. They're like another breed of people. I don't know what it is, but when they decide not to look at players or even acknowledge them, I'm just like, what is this? What's going on?
All right, so whenever we see an instant replay as a fan, obviously we don't do this for a living, but we can clearly see some of these plays are bullshit.
Yeah.
Let's say, for example, take for example the Super Bowl game from last year, the Rams against the Bengals. Starting the second half, there was a play where Ramsey got held with the face mask, and because of that, he was dragged down to the ground, and the Bengal wide receiver was open and just scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I remember that play. But my example that I was going to use was that playoff Rams versus Saints game, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
that was clear pass interference.
Man, I'll never forget that play.
Dude, those Rams. I mean, coming as a Rams fan, I loved it because it sent us to the Super Bowl, but that was just bullshit. That's a play where someone upstairs in New York should be like, that's pass interference. Clearly, that should be called.
The other one I was thinking of was well, obviously I talked about the Nick Bosa being held, but there was one where I think the Niners, it was a Packers-Niners game, and they threw the ball to Jerry Rice, and Jerry Rice actually fumbled. And they wound up not calling the fumble, and we we got one more play, and then Steve Young hit Terrell Owens for the catch 3. If they called that fumble, that Niners never beat the Packers that game.
I'd rather have a fair officiating game than a game where there was just bullshit calls and it favors my team.
Yeah.
It just takes the fun out of the competitiveness from both.
For sure. Well, let's not spend too much time on these refs. I just want to say if you like them, yes or no, that they don't deserve any more time to be talked about.
Don't
And they
like
get
them.
paid for this shit. Fuck them.
Oh man. So let's talk sleepers. Who is your guys' sleepers this year for fantasy?
Oh, definitely Brandon Ayuk for me. He was going in the 6th, 7th round.
Yeah. I mean, we touched on that earlier. Just what he.
Well, let's first base. What's the definition of a sleeper? Someone that's drafted after the 8th, 10th round?
Yeah,
I would say anyone past the 5th.
Define it. Oh fuck! There's still starters all the way to the 7th round. What the fuck are you talking about?
Let's go.
But they're not like top 4 round. Like you getting Ezekiel Elliott in the 5th round. Would you say that Ezekiel Elliott's? I would say he's a sleeper if he goes off this year because Ezekiel Elliott hasn't done anything in years.
So you think he's a sleeper? Is he?
No, he's not my sleeper. I think he's overrated.
Well, who? Okay, I mean, let's just say past the 8th round. Can we agree on that?
Well, Brandon Ayuk can go past the 8th round. So.
Okay. You know who I'm looking forward to seeing more of? Sophomore wide receiver Nico Collins from the Houston Texans. He showed some promise. He's big. He's not the fastest, but yet he has some very reliable hands. And I think their quarterback, Davis Mills, if he could just, get the ball out quicker this year, I think Nico Collins is going to be one of those wide receivers that he's going to go to quite often.
I will say, I do like Houston's development of receivers. They always wind up finding a good receiver to replace an aging one. Like Andre Johnson, they found DeAndre Hopkins. They found a Will Fuller. Right now they got Brandon Cooks, so they drafted Nico Collins. I do like Nico Collins as a sophomore for this year more than I did last year.
And my sleeper for this season, I think it's Trey Lance.
Whoa.
I think homer pick, I know. I just trust the talent around him more so. And we're going to get the ball on that goal line and he's going to run it in. Like I don't doubt that he's going to win. And
all right, I got a question for you then.
Okay.
Speaking about Trey Lance, out of the sophomore QBs coming into this year, out of the 2021 draft class, out of all of those quarterbacks that went, who's the first quarterback to get a Super Bowl?
Trey Lance, 100%.
I would say Trey too. Trey's got the best.
It's the team around him. That's what I trust.
And I actually think so too. I think the 49ers have the best team around their sophomore quarterback.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be. I'm really excited for this season. I can't wait for Sunday. My plan is to hopefully not be able to do anything Sunday, just watch football. Did we talk about how much did we talk about the game last night? I mean, we kind of went over that.
Yeah, it's week 1. We obviously knew the Bills are a great team. They're the Super Bowl favorites for almost everyone. But
well, let's go through the rest of the games. When you guys pull up the schedule?
Yeah, I got it right here.
Let's look at the week 1 schedule and just let's pick our teams to win.
All right, so first game we got New Orleans versus Atlanta Falcons.
Didi, who you got in that game?
I'm gonna go with the Saints. I honestly don't trust a Marcus Mariota led offense.
Yeah, I agree with you. I don't even know what Atlanta's gonna do. Like, I don't even think that's not even a complete team yet. What are they doing over there? They got the receivers gambling, trading away their quarterback. I don't know what they're doing over
I'm
there.
gonna say this: a team with shitty uniforms is always gonna lose. Those Atlanta gradient
Whoa,
uniforms are
whoa,
so ugly. Fuck those uniforms. Shitty
whoa.
team.
Mike, who you got in that game?
This is a toss-up. I think both teams are weaker, but since I drafted Alvin Kamara, I'm gonna have to go with the New Orleans Saints.
I mean, don't they have a really good defense, the Saints? That's why I would pick them. They just got a better defense.
I would say right now their defense should be favored over Atlanta's. Yeah,
But where's the game at? Is it in Atlanta or
it is in Atlanta.
I still got the Saints. I mean, every time I watch Jameis Winston, it makes me more of a fan of him. I just go, oh, I have to root for this guy. He's so silly. So,
All
what's the
right.
next game?
Hey, man, he's gonna eat them W's tomorrow.
Next game is Niners versus Bears.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, this is easy
We can-
for
Oh
us.
yeah, 100% Justin Fields.
No, come on. We know what's going on.
I got the Niners winning. We beat the Bears last year. I don't see the Bears improving at all. If anything, I think we improved way more.
Yeah, same. I mean, we're Niner fans. We're obviously going to pick them.
Didi?
And what?
What's Didi's pick official?
The 49ers.
Gosh.
Yeah.
Bears are just trash. They probably have the worst wide receiver core in all of football right now. Besides the Packers, I think the Bears are up there, man. There's some pretty awful wide receivers on that team.
I mean, is it safe to say that the Bears and the Browns are probably like historically so bad as an organization? Like, those teams don't win at all.
They're stuck in the past, man. They need to just modernize.
Yeah, I don't know. What
Here's one thing we could add to this too, other than the picks, is what player are you most excited to see out of this game?
in which game? The Niners?
The Niners versus Bears.
Oh, I'm just excited for. I'm really excited for Trey. I want him to succeed and do well. But I think it's going to be the same stuff that we always do as a team. We're going to run the ball. And the reason why I'm really high on our team is just because our defense is being talked about like it's the best thing ever in football. So it's just going to create more opportunities for Trey to move the ball.
For me,
So I'm really excited for him.
For me, I'm excited to see the receivers. I want to know who develops the chemistry with Trey early on, if it's Debo or Ayuk or even the rookie Danny Gray, because we've seen him throw that guy some 50-yard bombs already in preseason. What about you, Didi?
Honestly, I'm excited to see if Darnell Mooney can become a wide receiver one and just take over that team.
Yeah, I can see that. All right, let's go back to the first game, New Orleans and Atlanta. Is there any fantasy football players that you guys are excited to see here?
I definitely want to see Kyle Pitts in his sophomore year. I want to see if they take advantage of this guy's stature. This guy is huge. He's fast. He's probably the best tight end to come out of football in the last 10 years.
All right, and Sean, what about you?
I'm excited for the return of Michael Thomas. It'll be really cool to see if he just is back at it again in his normal form, and it'll even show like Didi's belief in him. It'll pay off in fantasy, and I'm excited to see how good Michael Thomas is going to be.
I'm on the same boat with the Thomas. I also want to see the rookie Chris Olave. I watched a lot of his college tape, and he's a burner. So Want to see if Jameis Winston's connection with him is pretty strong.
You know, Kyle Pitts, speaking of tight ends, when Marcus Mariota was at the Tennessee Titans, he had
Delaney
a
Walker.
pretty crazy tight end there, Delaney Walker. And so he favored Delaney Walker when he was with the Titans and had some of the best tight end years, when they were playing together. So I want to see if this is something that Marcus Mariota could rely on. Go to his gifted tight end and see if they can make some magic happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Delaney Walker, ex-49er. All right. Next game we got Pittsburgh at Cincinnati. The Bengals defending AFC champs. Who you guys got?
You go first.
I'm going to go Cincy here. I'm going to go with the safe pick. I think Cincinnati just became a better team since this offseason. I think they're going to, get stronger up front with their O-line. And if their O-line could just provide some protection for Joe Burrow to release the ball, Joe Burrow is one of the most accurate quarterbacks coming out in the last few years. And him and Jamar Chase is going to be something special. So I want to see Cincy's O-line as a whole perform in this game.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with D on this one as well. I think the Bengals are going to be the winners here. But if I'm going to go on what player am I more excited to see, I guess I want to see why the Steelers are believing in Mitch Trubisky.
All right.
That's an underdog story.
Or Kenny Pickett.
I just, hey, underdog story, man. Guy was drafted same year as Mahomes, didn't pan out for him. So if let's see if he's gotten any better. They obviously picked him for a reason.
Mitchell Trubisky is basically the effect of being Josh Allen's backup. That's it, dog.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, okay, come on.
I've seen enough of Mitchell as a Bears starting quarterback that I am not excited to watch him perform. I, too, will pick the Bengals. The person I'm most excited for is, of course, Joe Mixon, the guy I've been targeting. I want to see what he does behind this improved Cincinnati Bengals O-line, and it should be an exciting football game. Next, we got the Philadelphia Eagles at the Detroit Lions. Didi.
I'm going to take the Eagles here. And the player I'm looking forward to watching in this game, I want to see if A.J. Brown can have a connection with Jalen Hurts.
Yes. Sean?
I'm going to go with the opposite pick. I'm all supportive of the Lions.
That Hard Knocks?
Hard Knocks.
Fucking Hard Knocks.
Hard Knocks was such a fun show. I love it. Player I'm most excited to see is DeAndre Swift. That running back coach was just yelling at him, like, you could be great. Just going off. I really want to see the Lions do well. I'm tired of seeing them be horrible. So I'm looking for. I'm a fan of their head coach. So that's who I got.
Sean with the real Hard Knock opinions right there. I'm gonna go with. It's a toss-up, to be honest with you, but I do like the Philadelphia Eagles. I like Jalen Hurts, and the player I'm most excited to watch is Dallas Goddard. After Travis Kelce, I think Goddard is going to be a top 5 tight end this year, and that was what I was banking on. And hopefully, my instincts here are correct, and Dallas Goddard proves me right.
Another notable mention is Detroit's, second overall pick, Aiden Hutchinson.
Oh, yes, the mini Nick Bosa.
Yeah, we'll see if, playing his first NFL game, if he can come out blazing like he did in preseason, because he looked really special, really strong right up the front. His jump ball at the snap looks pretty impressive.
And he's like a Michigan native, so Detroit fans are already loving him.
Interesting. Yeah, that's rare that a player plays for his own, his home city, home state.
Yep. Kenny Pickett was another one. The Pittsburgh Steelers QB got drafted.
Oh, that's right.
Played for Pitt. All right,
Yeah,
next.
didn't they make fun of his hands for being small?
Yeah, they did the same shit with Drew Brees. Next one up is New England at Miami. Didi.
History repeats itself. When New England goes to Miami and they play at Miami, they just seem to play some of the worst ball. I'm going to go with Miami here.
This has been a trend. Sean.
Dude, I'm all about Miami. You know it.
Oh, yeah, Mike McDaniels, baby. 49er connection.
It's going to be awesome. I can't wait. I mean, a bunch of people hating on Tua, too. I'm like, dude, he'll be fine. Player most excited to watch. Man, I gotta go with the X9 Raheem Mostert. I want to see if he can still hold up, man. It sucked that he went out last season like that. That hurt so much.
He went out on the first drive of the season. How embarrassing.
Yeah.
Made out of glass. He's fucking Samuel Jackson and Unbreakable.
My trend right now with these are I'm all about the comeback story. So, who you got, Mike?
I too am gonna pick the Dolphins. This is one of those games where New England, I don't know if they party too hardy in Miami, but they always go to Miami and throw up a dud. I like Miami's defense. They had a great defense last year, and I too am excited to see what Mostert does, and I'm also excited to see the Tua to Tyreek Hill connection, see if that's an actual thing or if Tyreek Hill's gonna miss Pat Mahomes a whole bunch.
The player I'm keeping my eye out in this game is Ramondre Stevenson, the second running back for the New England Patriots, to see if maybe they could use him in a way where he could be more effective this year.
Oh.
Yeah. He's on my team in the league, so I'm definitely looking at that.
A 3-down back. He's definitely the better pass catcher there. Damian Harris doesn't even catch the ball, so I think they should just take advantage of him and just run him to the ground.
Little unknown sleeper here. One of the running backs I studied coming out of college that wanted the Niners to draft over Ty Davis Price and take that Raheem Mostert role was somebody that the New England Patriots drafted, Pierre Strong Jr., I believe, from San Jose State or San Diego State, one of them. Man's a burner, puts his foot in the ground and gets up the field. So if anything happens to that, I think him and Ramondre Stevenson would be a great 1-2 punch.
To South Dakota State.
South Dakota State, there we go. It was one of the smaller schools. All right, next up we got Baltimore at the New York Jets.
I think this is going to be Baltimore, and it's not even going to be close.
All right.
The Jets are out their starting wide receiver, quarterback, Joe Flacco, a veteran in this league, playing against his former team. I just think they're outmatched. The Jets just have mediocre players still. They're an awful organization. Baltimore is just a better run team. Better GM, better coach, better quarterback, better tight end, better run game, a better defense. I'm going to go with Baltimore all the way.
All right. Sean?
I agree. Who are the Jets? I don't even know who that team is. I mean, we've been around for so long, and there's nothing that has shown me that they're capable of winning games. So I'm with Dee. And if I'm thinking about any player that I'm excited for, I'm gonna say this is not a comeback story, but I'm excited to see Mark Andrews. I hated on him last year. Because he has diabetes. I turned out to be an idiot for that. And I drafted him in my work league, so I'm really hoping that he does really well.
For me, I actually probably would have picked the Jets because I liked Zach Wilson coming out of college. I thought, other than Lance, Zach Wilson was the only other quarterback that I wanted the Niners to draft. I also like Robert Saleh, our ex-defensive coordinator. He's the head coach over at New York. They have implemented the Kyle Shanahan system over there. It's going to be year 2, so I was excited to see how Zach would do. Unfortunately, Zach's hurt, so I'm going to have to go with the Ravens in this game, and for all the same reasons you guys said. The most player I'm looking forward to the most is to see what kind of backfield both teams have. Like, is J.K. Dobbins going to be there? Is Kenyon Drake the starter? What's going on with Breece Hall and Michael Carter Jr. on New York? Like, what running backs are going to be the lead dogs in these two backfields?
Yeah, I think Mike Davis is actually going to be the starter for Baltimore this Sunday.
Well, we know what he did in Atlanta.
Yep.
All right, so next game here, we got Jacksonville at the Commanders, Washington. How do you guys feel about the Commanders' name, by the way?
I don't like it. I fucking hate it. I hate their logo. I think it's stupid. I honestly, reading what their fan base was posting when they were choosing a name, I don't think their fan base wanted this name.
Sean?
Hold on. I think their runner-up name was Red Wolves, wasn't it? Or Red Hogs? Is that right, Mike?
It was one of them, but me personally, I love the Red Hogs. Gives that old tradition to the Great O lines from the 80s and early 90s. The Hogs and the Hogettes, the fans would come out in female Hoggette uniforms, big fat dudes dressed as female hogs.
See, that's fun. See, they should have gone with their history.
Yeah, I agree.
So this game has a lot of storylines coming out of this. One of them is, what do the Jacksonville Jaguars look like in year 2 with Trevor Lawrence at the helm? Is Doug Peterson, their new head coach, Super Bowl winner with the Eagles, can he come in and improve Trevor Lawrence's game? Can he make him a better quarterback? Can he surround him with the right tools needed to succeed in this league? That's what I'm looking forward to in this game. I think Trevor Lawrence, coming out of college, is a very, very high potential, high ceiling quarterback, and we just haven't even seen it yet.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna say about the Commanders. Horrible name. I don't know why they just horrible. Get it out of here. I was a better fan of the Washington football team, but don't put the football team in there. Just say Washington. I like the W on the helmet. Fine. It's, I mean, the Browns have nothing on their helmet, and they're just called the Browns. So you could easily call the team Washington. Get the Commanders out of here. But as far as who's gonna win the game, man, you know what? I'm gonna go with the Jaguars. I'm gonna go with the Jaguars.
They upset.
I'm gonna go with the Jaguars. I think Trevor Lawrence has a better year. I'm hope. I want to see Travis Etienne because I was so scared of being stuck having to should I draft him? I did not have. I was never comfortable in that situation this year in fantasy. So I'm looking forward to seeing Travis Etienne, and I think the Jags got a dub on this one.
All right. For me, I'm actually going to choose the Commanders. I like what their pickup of Carson Wentz. I know he's got issues with being a leader and whatever for the Colts and stuff, and I don't know, was it because he wasn't getting vaccinated or something along those lines? But I like Carson Wentz throwing the ball to Scary Terry, throwing the ball to Jahan Dotson, who I picked up in one of my leagues, rookie wide receiver. He's a burner, so I think they got weapons. Antonio Gibson's no slouch. They got the PPR machine, J.D. McKissick. It's unfortunate what happened to Brian Robinson Jr. That was one of those unfortunate mishaps. So hopefully he returns healthy. But yeah, I got the Commanders in this one.
Oh, Brian Robinson is the rookie running back. Was shot twice about a week ago, last week of August. And, I've heard reports where he's already walking without crutches, with no limp.
Soldier.
People are calling him Wolverine. He has that healing factor in him.
Hey man, if he comes back by week 6, turn up.
So Brian Robinson, for anyone that doesn't know, he's on the IR, non-football injury IR. So he's definitely a player you can stash away and put him in your IR slot in your fantasy football leagues. And I think he'll come back mid-season, and they'll slowly ease him into the game. But I believe that their plan is to have him, become the starter for the Commanders.
Yeah, and also I didn't pick one Jacksonville Jaguar this year in fantasy, so I got a couple Redskins. I got Jahan Dotson and
Redskins? You mean the Commanders?
Commanders. Sorry.
Hey,
old habits die hard.
You're gonna be like the news analyst or the sports analyst saying San Diego when they were the Los Angeles Chargers. That happened for almost 2 years straight.
All right, so let's go on to the next game. We got the Cleveland Browns versus the Carolina Panthers. Sean, let's go with you first.
Man, this is a no-brainer. The Browns are terrible. They're not going to accomplish anything. I think I'm going to go with the Panthers all the way. I think Baker Mayfield just, flips them off while he scores himself. I'm going to be mad because he doesn't give it to McCaffrey, and he's going to take it in himself, and then he's going to slam the ball in their end zone. I'm going with Panthers all the way. And I'm really hoping Christian McCaffrey has a healthy season because he's a hell of a player.
All right, Didi?
I'm going to go with the Cleveland Browns.
Horrible choice.
I think their run game is amazing. It's a 1-2 punch with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. They still have a great offensive line. They have Jacoby Brissett playing for them, but I think he's, just decent enough to run that offense. He doesn't have to throw the ball much. That whole offense goes through their run game, and I think their run game is elite.
All right. I'm gonna actually go with the Panthers. I'm going with Sean's pick here. I think Baker Mayfield has a huge chip on his shoulder, and the fact that he gets to play the team that didn't want him, drafted a man with questionable backgrounds for $200 million guaranteed. Baker's gonna have a huge chip on his shoulder, and he's coming into Cleveland and showing Cleveland Browns that that's his house, or Cleveland's coming to his new home.
I think you're 100% wrong. The team that drafted Bill Cosby Jr., we're going to win. Browns all the way.
I think Baker Mayfield will be he'll be redeemed if he makes like a wild card spot for the Panthers. That's the only way it's like redeemable for him.
Have you ever thought that he was an actually decent quarterback?
It flashes moments.
He's like mid QB. All right, so next game we got the Colts at the Houston Texans. It's the easy pick.
What was the players that you were guys looking forward to? Was it C-Mac, Christian McCaffrey?
Oh yeah. For me, Carolina.
Baker, dog.
Yeah, I'd have to go Baker. Actually, you know what? I want to see how Amari Cooper does this wide receiver one in Cleveland. He could be a huge value because he was going later, like way late in drafts.
Sean?
CMC. He's been injured the last 2 years. It's like, I really hope he does well.
I'm looking forward to seeing Nick Chubb and seeing if he'll, take the role of being the number one running back in this backfield, and seeing if he can get maybe 20 touches in the game. It's usually when Nick Chubb gets at least 20 touches, there's one or two big gains on 20 to 30 plus yard runs. I hope he has one of those games this coming Sunday.
Yeah, you're gonna need it.
Only thing Nick Chubb's got lurking over him for being the workhorse is that Kareem Hunt. All right, so let's get back to the picks here. Indianapolis at Houston. Didi, we'll go with you.
It's going to be the Colts, and it's not going to be close.
Sean?
I'm in the same boat as Didi. It's not going to even. Houston sucks. They suck. What are they going to do?
I would tend to agree. I'm actually going to pick Houston, and I'm going to do it because they're at home. And the only reason why I'm going to do it is because I am on the Dameon Pierce hype bandwagon. They're going to run the ball, and then it's just going to be a slow, grind you out kind of game. And I expect at least two touchdown goal line runs from Dameon Pierce.
I'm not gonna even start him.
All right, so what about you guys? Who are you guys looking forward to watching in this game?
Looking forward to seeing if Matt Ryan can be a gunslinger behind a very, very good offensive line. This is probably going to be his best offensive line he's ever played with. And when Matt Ryan could have time to throw the ball, he could be some of the best. He could be a best top 5 fantasy QB in the league.
All right, Sean.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna piggyback on Didi with Matt Ryan. He hasn't done well in a while, and
he did have an MVP season back in 2016 with the Atlanta Falcons behind Shanahan offense.
Yeah, I would really like to see him. He has a good O-line in front of him, and he's got a great receiver, Michael Pittman. I think, yeah, I like the Matt Ryan pick.
All right. I actually am down on Matt Ryan. This fool's been old for like the last 3 seasons, ever since his MVP year. He's kind of done nothing. So I'm actually lower on Indianapolis this year than last year. I'm low on Michael Pittman, but I hope Matt Ryan does something because they got a rookie Alec Pierce at wide receiver that I drafted, and hopefully we get some red zone targets for that guy. All right, next up we got New York Giants at the Tennessee Titans. Didi, who you got?
I got the Titans here. And it's for one reason. I like their run game. I like Derrick Henry, healthy, back. They still have a decent offensive line. And I think Tennessee Titans' strong point for their team is just their run game. And I think they're just going to run it down the Giants' throat.
What about you, Sean?
Yeah, I agree with Didi. It's going to be the Titans all day here. Derrick Henry is just going to demolish these fools. I mean, but I'm going to say the guy that's on my radar is Kadarius Toney. I've listened to enough podcasts about this guy. I want to see if these guys know what they're talking about. And he went in the later rounds too. So I'm more excited to see what he does.
Kadarius Toney is New York's wide receiver 1, right?
No, I don't know if he's the one.
1 or 2.
It has to do with the amount of targets he gets. That's all.
Yeah,
or that he got last season when he was healthy.
Right now, New York has so many receivers. It's kind of hard to really pin down who's number 1 or who's number 4.
Kenny Golladay. Do they have Marvin Jones?
They got a rookie. Forgot the rookie's name though. Darius something. Or Wandell Robinson. I think that's it. I'm gonna go with the Tennessee Titans because New York has been absolute garbage for the last few seasons, and I don't see that changing with Danny Dimes. Danny Dimes has good games here or there, but other than that, been kind of mediocre. The one person I'm looking forward to is actually Saquon. He's been hurt past couple seasons and can he become that, RB1 that everybody thinks he is? Because I don't see it happening.
That's right. It's a good pick.
I think out of this game, I'm really looking forward to Treylon Burks, Titans rookie wide receiver. And I think he might be able to take the role AJ Brown just left.
That's what they
He's a
drafted him
dominant wide
for.
receiver coming out of college.
Yeah, the thing that scared me with him was all the camp reports of the asthma and everything. Same thing happened last year with Jamar Chase, where they're saying he has the dropsies and can't catch. And look what happened.
That's right.
Jamar Chase went off, so maybe the same thing happens for Treylon Burks. Go ahead, Sean.
I said my guy.
Okay.
Kadarius Toney.
Next we got the GOAT MVP candidate, 2-time MVP, ayahuasca champ in the fucking shadow realm, Aaron Rodgers with the Green Bay Packers at Kirk Cousins and the Minnesota Vikings. Sean, who you got?
Man, I'm going to go with that ayahuasca warrior for starters. So much has come from those podcasts with him. And I honestly think it doesn't matter what receivers he has. He's going to make it work. I got the Packers.
All right, Didi, what about you?
I got Minnesota with the upset here.
Ooh.
I think Minnesota has something to prove. They lost so many close games last year. I think it was 7 out of 8 games where they lost by 1 possession. I think they're going to turn around this year, and their offense behind Kevin O'Connell, I think they're going to run it through their wide receivers this year.
It is interesting that you say that, Didi, because I too, this is a shocker for Sean probably, I too am going with the Vikings because past couple seasons, Aaron Rodgers has started slow. And with these new receivers, I think it's going to take a couple games before he starts getting back into MVP form. So I too do like Minnesota to beat the Packers here. However, I am excited to see how these receivers for the Green Bay Packers pan out. And most importantly, the receiver that I'm looking forward to watching the most is Allen Lazard.
Lazard is doubtful this weekend.
I heard that, but I'm still looking forward to watching Allen Lazard. I'm also looking forward to Romeo Doubs and Christian Watson, but I think Christian Watson's also hurt. The ones that I'm not looking forward to is Sammy Watkins and Randall Cobb. So we'll see what happens. Who are you guys looking forward to watching?
Aaron Rodgers.
Aaron Rodgers.
All right, there you have it. The Aaron Rodgers committee right there. All right, next up we got the Kansas City Chiefs versus the Arizona Cardinals, and this is at the Cardinals. Didi.
I'm going to go KC here. And I'm going to go for one reason. I think Kansas City has, for the past few years, been relying on a big play offense behind Tyreek Hill. Since they lost him in the offseason, I honestly think Patrick Mahomes and the KC offense are going to be spreading the ball more, and they're going to be playing a smarter offense. They're going to just take what they can, and I'm going to take KC here.
Sean?
Yeah, I'm with Didi. I'm with KC. But I think I do agree they're going to spread the ball more, but this is who I look forward to. Also, I just want to see Kelsey dominate like he always does and just show that he's not old, even though he is. I want to see him just do the same old stuff. Like, Cardinals stand no chance. They have no chance. Kyler Murray's going to be staying up, playing Call of Duty the night before. It's not going to happen.
All right.
Who you got, Mike?
I too have Kansas City. I think even with the losses of everything, Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, that defense, they're going to handle Arizona pretty easily. I'm looking forward to seeing what weapons are shaping out in Kansas City. Like, who's the starting running back? Is Clyde Edwards-Helaire the answer? Is it Pacheco? Is it McKinnon? Who are the receivers? Juju, MVS, Sky Moore, Nicole Hardman. We'll find all that out that day. Let's go on to the next one. We got the Raiders versus at the Chargers. Who does everybody got in that one? Let's start with Sean.
This is actually this is the game I look forward to the most this week. And I'm just gonna say, for our closest friends and family that we know, I'm gonna go with the Raiders. I'm super excited to watch these guys play. I love this matchup. Every time these guys play each other, it's like one of my favorite games to watch. Both, like, the Chargers, we know what they're about. We know that they got weapons, but the Raiders just acquired one of the best weapons out there. I'm really looking forward to seeing Carr and Javonte do work.
It's gonna be a shootout, that's for sure.
Yeah.
This game, I'm gonna go ahead and go with the Chargers, and I think because they have an elite defense on paper, they just traded for Khalil Mack in the offseason. I think a defensive line with Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa looks pretty dangerous. And right behind them, they have J.C. Jackson and, Derwin James. I think it's going to be, a tough time for Derek Carr to start off with.
I, too, like the Chargers for the reasons Didi stated. I think their defense will be better than Raiders. I think it will be a shootout, but Carr is going to be running for his life with Bosa and Mack coming at him. The player that I am most looking forward to watching in this one is Keenan Allen because...
Bo fam, let's ride. Bo fam.
Bo fam, let's ride.
You know what? I'm going to go the opposite way. I'm looking forward to Davante Adams and seeing what him and Derek Carr can do. They played in college together. I feel like they're going to have their synergy straight off the bat, and I think they're just going to let Derek Carr cook this year.
Yeah, Derek Carr, the sleeper QB of the season for fantasy football.
All right.
What about you, Sean? Sean. Who are you looking forward to in this game?
I want to see Carr. I'm looking forward to Carr and Davante, just those two, that duo together. That's all the hype, and it'll make things way more exciting than just watching Renfro and Waller trade off. And this is to me, I guess I'm gonna more lean towards Carr, because this is the year where Carr will have no more excuses. They're all in on him.
I mean, the Raiders still have a trash defense, right? So Carr's going to have to come back, shoot out versus these great offenses and come back. But, Carr's a great fourth quarter comeback QB.
Hey, this is just my opinion, and I'm going to hate on the Zebras one more time. They made some questionable calls in that Bengals-Raiders playoff game. So I'm just going to leave it at that. Raiders, they had a shot.
All right. Let's go on to the next game. We got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with the GOAT Tom Brady at the Cowboys. Sean or Didi, let's go Didi.
For years I told myself I'm not going to choose against Tom Brady, and I'm not going to choose against Tom Brady. I picked the Bucs here.
Nice.
I'm the opposite. I think I'm going to be the guy. It's nothing against Tom Brady. It's just more like, I will say age is catching up with him, but it's a mental thing that's catching up with him. Not showing up for practice, and I got off the field issues, working on his clothing line. Who knows what else he's doing off field? I think he's mentally distracted right now, and it's gonna show.
Yeah, fuck that. I disagree. I think when Tom Brady's on the field, he is the most competitive person in all of football. He's not gonna have any distractions, man. Come
No
football
doubt.
time, I think he's gonna be balls out. Even though the Buccaneers in the offseason, they lost 3 offensive linemen. They lost their left tackle, was their left guard, and their center, all out or all different now. One retired, one got hurt, and one traded. So even with brand new offensive line, I still think Tom Brady's gonna coordinate and lead their team to victory this Sunday.
Yeah, this is one of those toss-up ones for me. I think I'm gonna also lean with the GOAT and pick Brady over the Cowboys. I am excited though. I want to see how Jalen Tolbert does with Dak Prescott throwing him the ball, the rookie. But other than that, I got Tampa Bay winning this one.
And I'm excited to see Micah Parsons in his second year. He was an amazing pickup for the Cowboys, and I think this guy is something special. He has all the tools to play from any point of the field and dominate, the game. Honestly, I think this is my dark horse pick to become Defensive Player of the Year this year.
Mine's Nick Bosa. Go ahead, Sean.
I think the player I'm not too excited for anybody on these teams. I like watching Tom Brady play. I don't think I want to pick him, but well, yeah, like I think I've been the biggest Ezekiel Elliott hater since I can remember, and I guess I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do because I've just been hating on him forever. I've never drafted him. I've stayed away from him, and I hope he can prove me wrong. So I'm excited to see him.
All right, and we got our final matchup Monday Night Football. The Denver Broncos at the Seattle Seahawks. Who we got, fellas?
This is a no-brainer. It's Denver all day. Let's ride.
Let's ride. What about you, Didi?
I'm going to go Denver, and it's not going to be close.
I, too, am picking the Broncos because, like Sean said...
Broncos country, let's ride.
Oh, yeah, Russell Wilson, baby. He's coming back to Seattle, and he's going to give Pete Carroll hell, man. I don't see this being close.
Russell Wilson, for years, carried that team in Seattle. Now that he actually has a proper offensive, around him, I think he's going to produce this year, and he's going to be something special and someone to look out for.
All right, so
Yeah, I agree.
Players to watch, Russell Wilson, consensus?
Yeah, I think that's the spotlight. This was a huge trade. I'm excited for him.
I'm gonna go one further, and I'm gonna say I'm excited to see Courtland Sutton and Jerry Jeudy, and who gets the fair share of targets here in this matchup.
Yeah, I like Russell Wilson.
All right, fellas. Well, that's all the games. We got our picks locked in.
Yeah, dudes. I think we wrap this sucker up.
Yep. I think this was a great first podcast. Thanks for everybody out there who's watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you guys throw any questions down in the comment box, we'll make sure to get to them next week. Follow us. We'll be posting these every Wednesday during football season. We'll also be doing other Hard Knock Opinion podcasts throughout the year on different topics, but football season Wednesdays. We're out of here.
Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Let's ride.